Rosie. She's an 8-year-old. She was broke as for riding, just sat on at 2.5 years old, and through circumstances she's now 8, coming 9, and hasn't been used. So what Ree's doing is we're going to drive her today in an open bridle. People keep asking us, why do you use blinkers, why don't you do open bridle? Now Ree's just asked that horse to stand still. Can you see its feet? It's left its feet in exactly the place she asked it to do, to stand still. It's not moved its feet. Yeah. Now Ree will drop the shafts down. Notice no reaction from the horse whatsoever. Now people say you should never put horse to like that. Well, that's an old subject on its own. You should have someone stand in front of it. All I can say to that is we're here training horses, and I would never stand in front of a horse or ask anyone else to, personally myself. Certainly not until they're fully trained. So we have a cow collar around its neck, or a collar around its neck, known as a cow collar. And it's connected to the wall with a chain covered with plastic hose pipe. The reason for that is so if they get their head under it or anything, they don't pull their mane out or anything like that. So you can see Ree just putting it to now, and the horse standing. It still hasn't moved its feet. She asked it to stand, it's standing. This horse is also a riding horse, here for ride and drive, but we're just taking it out today. In this vehicle here, although it looks large, it's quite light actually. It's no different to having 4 adults, you know, on a 4-seated carriage. There'll only be Ree and myself on now, and weight wise, this one's a shorter. We've got a longer version of the same thing, but this one's a shorter version. So Ree's just put the rein on, touched the rein, and obviously the horses moved merely because when she put the rein back up on the vehicle, that was enough. Now, just a soft rubber bit. It's had no contact by the rein, just other than the fact that Ree just touched it. But as you can see there, nice and foamy, playing with the bit, perfectly happy, standing there. Little bit grubby on her back legs, so now when a horse does that, stands with its legs standing on 3 feet basically, because the other one's at rest, that tells you that the horse is perfectly content, happy to stand there. If that horse was uptight in any way, it would be standing on 4 feet so that it could move. And that's what I mean about that chain. Did you see she just rubbed her head there, or you know, her ear or something? So if you had chain on, just chain. Why don't we use rope? 2 reasons. If you just put rope on there and it done exactly the same thing, rope can burn horse bad. You know, if it puts it over its neck, then jerks its head up, you know, because it's startled. So we've found over the years that the best way is to have that flexible hose pipe there, and they can rub their face on it, do everything she's doing there without any impeding, you know, a movement. The reason we put a collar on is because now her head is completely free. So we're not chaining her up or tying her up where you normally would with a head collar. So she's completely free. So she can see everything behind her. There's nothing impeding her vision in any way, or her turning her head around to look. So why have we put her in this way? We can put her any way you like, you know. It's just that we tie the horses up all the way around this white strip that runs round, like if we're putting 4 in hand 2 or whatever. So one of the reasons we turn them in is because that's the way we bring them in after they've been out, and the next horse might be using the same carriage and if so, then that's just fine. You know, that's great, and we can put it, as I say, put it, you know, the next horse in, so it saves moving the carriages around. The other reason we do it is she's going to have to turn now right the way around to go out the gate up there. So she's going to have to turn this vehicle completely round on a sixpence basically, which is another part of the education that they all have. So perfectly happy and calm, leg at rest, chomping away on a bit, just enjoying that old rubber bit in its mouth. And this is one of our soft rubber bits that we use. We do manufacture our own, but this one actually is not. It's one we bought in only because the chap, with all this going on with the coronavirus, we haven't been able to get any made, but we only make them for ourselves. You know, different sizes. They're a little bit thinner, the ones we make, and they're green in colour, you know, as opposed to black. So there we are, we're ready to go. I'm just going to get me bits and pieces on, and then off we'll go, and we'll make a film of her going down the road, open bridle. But that's what we want to see before we set off, completely relaxed. Reese put the horse too on her own. Yeah. So that's lovely. Now I'll climb up. I want her to stand as quiet as she will. Obviously she's going to be, okay, we're ready to go, Dad, you know, but I want her to stand quiet. But I don't want to talk to her and tell her to stand quiet. You know, I want her to start to learn to stand without any instruction. So, you know, you can't ask for better than that. And she's happy. The other thing I didn't mention, alright, literally 50 yards from home, I had to shut the gate and then jump on the back. So we're just this distance from home. What I didn't mention, this horse had its teeth done a year ago. Now, I'm not condemning dentists, I'm not doing that, and I would never do that. Everybody to their own. But we always use our vet to have a look at, whoa baby. Okay. Well, I just wanted to check. I could hear me tyre squeaking then. I just thought we had a puncher, but we haven't. So we had the vet come yesterday and just have a look at its mouth, and he said that she had a very unusual thing, a very last molar right up in her mouth, just by her throat. She had a little bit of something he thought was uncomfortable. Yeah. So he done that yesterday, and had a general file up. The reason I say, for me personally, I would use a vet to do their teeth is just obviously the experience, and also what he done, which was lovely, was look at the cranium in general. So before he even started looking in the mouth, he went all over the head. So behind the ears, you know, all over the pole, down the cheeks, down the side. I had a good feel round and a little prod and a poke. And before, we've had horses that have had maybe, like one of them had a mastroid, they used to call them now, I don't know what they call them now, it was basically a boil down inside its ear. Another one had a thorn. I mean, I couldn't understand why this horse kept shaking its head. We'd been over it, we'd washed it, we'd done everything, and it was only, and felt it all over. And you couldn't say that the horse in any way got anything you could see at all. Anyway, a couple of days later I felt it again, and there was just a little tiny bump there, and it was a big black thorn, the actual thorn, just at the base of its ear, but you couldn't see it. But obviously it made it uncomfortable, didn't it? Sure it did. It's like having someone pricking you with a needle. So you can see we've come out, we've passed our first, or the vehicle's passed us, first vehicle, and no reaction at all. Don't drive any different in an open or closed bridle. Why do we use them? Well, I don't know really. If you go abroad, you know, especially into Europe, you see lots of horses worked, heavy horses especially, worked in open bridles. You know, brewery drays in Germany, they'll all be open bridle, Belgian. So I don't really know. And there are lots of differences. Like you obviously see neck collars of all different types, all made differently. You know, open at the bottom, some of them at the top, some of them you slip them over to all sorts. But a lot will have big breast collars, big, deep, wide, thick breast collar, often done with flocking or, you know, that steady, bud. So a very big, thick, soft collar, wide than perhaps, you know, a modern one would be, for heavy horse to work out of, and they work perfectly well in them. So, you know, they can be made of felt, as I say, flocked, all sorts of different paddings. They'll usually be leather or material covered, you know, some sort of wool lining on them. And they'll be driving open bridle and they wouldn't work any other way. And if, you know, if you ask them about a closed bridle, they think he was crazy. So why is it? Well, for me personally, I can only speak for me. I'm not justifying them. I'm not, you know, justifying open bridle. I'm just saying that if you have a closed bridle, it does, for the majority of horses in training, will be, how shall we say, be more concentrated on their job. The problem is with a closed bridle, so it'll concentrate because you're taking 80% of their vision away. They can only obviously look forward, they can't look back, and as anyone knows that's read books on horses or seen diagrams of their sight line, with their left eye they can see their right buttock without turning their head, as long as their mane don't interfere with the vision. Yeah, they can look over and see. So when you take all of their vision and just concentrate it on a tunneled vision facing forward, then it's not like a cup blinker is what I mean, and you've got anything in front of the blinker they can see. Steady, but anything in front of the blinker they can see. It's a case of it's you know, it covers their eye completely and basically level with their face, you know, their forehead if you like, then between their eyes, the actual skull, it comes level there. So obviously it's a tunneled vision. If you have cup blinkers that stick back, they can't see behind them, but they can see everything from the side and forward. So, but majority of driving bridles are a complete disc covering the eye, and the front of it, roughly speaking, is level with the forehead. So why does it happen? I don't know. I've seen horses worked in pairs and teams open. We've done a few open, which we're going to possibly show some clips of other horses we've done recently, just to show you different breeds, different types. You know, they can all do it. Doesn't matter what, whether they're blood horses or cold blood horses or whatever, they can do it. You've got to give them time to understand. But you see, when we put her to, she weren't upset, was she? Bear in mind, this horse is laid out for 6 years. 6 years, not done a thing, not had any foals, so it's become set in its ways. And she is a bit of an handful, you know. When you're sitting up behind at the driver, you'd want to be a driver, you'd want to be someone, you know, I'm not, perhaps, I don't know, you'd need to be a confident driver, because this mare would, like if she, I would say she'd turn around and go home and say, that's it, I've done enough now. I would say that she would, you know, so you've got to keep her. So when you asked her, I've asked her to walk, back there she wanted to trot a little bit, I just increased the pressure very, very slightly. It's only got a rubber bit, and just checked her and said, no, walk when I ask you. And that's what she's doing. But she is not the easiest of horses to drive or to ride. You'll see a riding video of her possibly on YouTube, and you'll see that Ree rides. Now Ree's ride and drive, that's what we say. Ree's ride and drive, and Katie's an experienced rider. So on this horse we put Ree on it, and she does some lovely work with it, just to show that an experienced and a novice, or ride and drive as we say, he's ride and drive, he's you know, can handle the horse. But it's that little bit of, not, you can't bully her, and all this smacking's a load of nonsense. You don't need to do that. You don't need all them spurs up their ribs and whips and like that. You'll see Katie carry a schooling whip, yeah. Now the whip she carries, a long whip, and it'll just be with these young horses just to say, no, you're not getting the message, just put your bum over there, just put your quarters over there, that type of thing. But all right there, if you it's an aid, not a punishment. And that's lovely. So this little girl, she's improved no end since she's been with us, you know, since we broke her to drive and she's got better and better. So we thought we'd show you another one in an open bridle and what we do and how we do it. But when a horse will stand still like that and have the shafts drop down to put on, and re-harnesses it completely on his own, I mean, that's a lovely thing, isn't it? It's a beautiful thing to see. I mean, Ree and I have worked together now, I don't know, a fair time. But it's the approach to a horse, the way you handle them. Everything we do here has a reason. So obviously when a horse comes out the yard, they want to get on, don't they? They want to go, oh, come on, let's go. We'll go as fast as this, we'll do that. No, we won't. We'll just walk quietly when I ask you to. And that's what I want you to do, and I don't want you to do any more than that. And this little girl's doing it beautiful. And I can feel her, you know, I know I've got people say I've got good hands, well, I don't know about that, but I can feel her playing with that bit. And I can feel her rolling it, you know, and playing with it, and that's beautiful. When you have a rubber bit, it arches naturally. So it has an arch in it, must do, mustn't it? Obviously, if you put any weight on the two rings, it's going to arch, which gives them loads of room for their tongue. You're not clamping the tongue down, so they can move their tongue freely. That's the baby. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask her to just trot, and I just want her to do a little jig job. Trot! Trot! Steady, babe. Steady. Steady. Trot! Steady. Oh, she's just learning this now, a real slow trot, yeah? You see her just going along there, beautiful. Absolutely lovely. And then if I want it to stop, I want it to stop on a sixpence. I don't want to pull her head off to do it. So what I'm going to show you now is I've just got my thumb and forefinger, and I'll just say to her, whoa! And she's got to stand still. Walk, baby, and she's got to walk away. We had a lot of trouble with that, or snatching away. Now I honestly don't know why. I'd like to know why, but my experience cannot see why she done that. She would snatch away on the lightest of vehicles. Well, we have a great selection of vehicles, a lot of vehicles. She'd go away quietly. She would go away she'd snatch with a light vehicle. She'd go away quiet sometimes with, and I really don't know. It's beyond me to understand. I wish I did. And horses are a great leveller, because when you think yourself, you know, I could normally work out things, when you can't, it just makes you realise how little you know. And it does make you realise that, you know, there's so much more. And I've said hundreds of times before, I'd like another lifetime to get it right. But basically we're going sweet, so we're going to ask her to trot now. Trot! So this is a working trot. there like that, and then I want to be able to say to her, trot on, and we got the next gear, and I just want to say to her, steady, steady baby, steady, that's it. Come back to a slow trot. Now this working trot here, she'd go all day. I mean, without any question, she'll go to either of the towns we use, which is Andover, and which is Stockbridge. Hello! They're both roughly 7 miles away, 6.5, 7 miles. And obviously you can go different ways to get to them, which will increase or decrease that. But and as an average, that's what they are, 6.5. So when they go out, they're doing 13, 14 miles. When they get up towards the end of their training, and they do it with comfort. So when you arrive, they're not puffing and blowing, and they, you know, could well have trotted all the way. So that's lovely. And she's just had a look at this man coming out there, coming out there, like coming out of a tunnel, wasn't it? The way the shadows are over the road. Steady, baby, steady. Steady, steady, steady girl, just walk. Once you come back to walk, so she's listening. So you know you can see her do all this in a closed bridle, but in the open bridle she's really good. We're just going to go down through the village and like that, but on this road here you can see some heavy old traffic, because we have, funny enough, we have bedmacks very nearby, and we have a lot of construction going on around, houses being built, etc., and some quite big road works going on, you know, like, I mean, putting in trenches and whatever they're laying and stuff like that. The other thing we have down here, which we get quite a lot, and is scary for them, is scaffolding, because there's a lot of thatched cottages, and obviously when they're rethatched, they use a scaffold, erect a scaffold around it. I mean, years ago it would all been with ladders, but they erect a scaffold around it now. So obviously, like this particular property here, the scaffold will be erected in the road. So sometimes you've got, you know, traffic lights, you know, temporary traffic lights, that type of thing. So yeah, we're going well. All's just working away nice in a slack rein, which is what we want, you know, that's the way we drive. I know you have, people have them, you know, metal bits, curve chains, you must have a firm contact at all times. Well, I'm just saying, everybody, or no, not everybody, everybody do whatever they want to do, but I think it's a good thing to open your eyes and have a look and see there are other ways of doing things. And rubber bits have been around for a long time, I've said that before. Before that there was leather bits, and we're going back, you know, 150 years, or even longer. You know, you can see leather bits, you know, manufactured. I mean, so this little girl's just going sweet as anything in an open bridle. Someone having their groceries delivered, groceries. And this is what I mean, this is a typical thing in this village. So they're putting a new thatch on. So this has been erected since yesterday, because they've done the back half, look, you can see up there, and now they're over here, so there's something else for her to look at. So what I'm going to do now is just ask her to come over, baby. Let her just think, if you look at her little mouth, look at all the soap hanging out and dropping Yeah. That's it, have a look at that. There's a good deal. So that's a lovely little hazard, you know, a bit of training, an opportunity when there's a scaffold up. And I reckon around the villages we used, I would think, I don't think it'd be exaggeration, you can always find one somewhere, you know, with the amount of thatched places being done, and they'll be up for sometimes 6 or 8 weeks. So we're coming down here now to the river. We'll just go in there if we can. Come on, baby. Trot, babe. And just where we're going to go in the river here, if we can get in, if there's no cars parked there, you'll see there's another thatch. Steady, babe. When we come out, you'll see there's another thatch that's just been done, and that one was working nice. Come round, baby. She loves to dive in here, so I'm going to let her do that. Go on in, babe. Go on. Up, babe. Come around, darling. She also loves to play with the water, so we have put her head right under water, look, you see, as it goes down. And you've got to keep her, because in that deep water there, you can see just here by this front wheel, she'd love to lay down. I know she'd dearly like it to lay down in there. And one day, if we get time, what we're going to do is bring her down and let her go in, you know, have her on a lead rope off the back of one of the carriages. Walk up, baby, come on, walk up. Have her off a lead rope and let her have a roll if she wanted to, you know. I think she'd love it. Although that's a stone bottom river, you know, it's a chalk stream. If she rolled, it wouldn't hurt her. Well, I mean, obviously it could do, but I've seen horses rolling there loads of times, and the bottom's gravelly, and so it just moves around. It's not like they, you know, it hurts them in any way. Oh, baby, stand still. So there you see, if you look, a little leg at rest there, which is lovely, lovely, lovely morning. Beautiful, yeah. So there she is, that's lovely, and there's another lot of roadworks up the front there, or they've got a fence out, so they're doing work on that property. So, you know, we always have this, which is lovely. It's a brilliant place to live, because we have the water, we have the bridges, we have the town not too far away, we have quiet lanes, we have very busy ones, we have, you know, Bedmax is just down the road, so there's Arctics coming in and out all day long, picking up stuff and bringing in the timber to make the chip-ins, you know. So it's yeah, it's a lovely place, pretty place to live in, lovely. This thatched cottage just here has just been done, so we had a scaffold just across the front here, you know. So yeah, lovely. So, you know, people say, you know, how do we train, why do we train the way we do? Well, to make them safe, confident and happy. Come over, babe. So take this mare here, for instance. She's a little bit wary of this. This wasn't here the other day, you know. We saw it on the way down, but it wasn't here. So why do we do what we do in the arena? Because it's all related. Everything you do with horses is interlocking. Come over, babe. So I want to come over. Come up, babe, come on. You know, I should put her head right in there, yeah? Now, you can't argue with that in any way. That is, not that I want to argue with anybody, I'm just saying that's the way we do it here. It's not the way I do it, it's the way we do it. All strong promotion, safe, confident and happy. The only way you're going to get them like that is to put the hours of training in. That's why I say to you, you must. If you think it's going to take an hour, make sure you've got an hour and a half. 2 hours is better, Because if it doesn't work, but another half an hour or another 10 minutes or another whatever, I'll have to go now because I've got a car coming. Come over, baby, walk up. Trot. So this fella's waiting for me here, so it wouldn't matter, we could pass him on this narrow lane, but you know, he's kindly pulled over, and so you've got to be polite and go with the job. Come over there, that's it. Ah, that's it, lovely. Steady, baby. So that's what we do, you know, all the things in the arena, all the things we do. People say, why ever do you stand on a motorway bridge? That's so dangerous. Well, might be for some people, but we've done it with 1,000 horses, and that wouldn't be an exaggeration. We've certainly done it 1,000 times, put it that way. And it just shows the confidence the horse has in itself. You know, it's not led up to it. We never go to their heads. That's another thing people do. As soon as they got a problem, they're down to their heads. You know? So that's no good. It's for me, it's no good. It might work for someone else, lovely. I would never tell anyone else how to do their horse. I can only tell you any of these films is how we do it here. But you want them to be safe, confident and happy. And how we do it here is, well, we achieve it, and they're all done. I know I keep saying this and people get, you know, people say, oh, you can't do that, you can't drive in a rubber bit, that's dangerous. Well, if it's so dangerous, then that comes, you know, we're not dead. And if someone says to me, one day the law of averages, which anyone will tell you, you know, in the insurance business, whether it's a motor car, motorbike, jumping out of a plane or whatever, the law of averages, one day we will have an accident. Of course, bound to. But when you think last week I'd done very near 270 miles, sat behind horses, who does that? 270, just short of 270 miles in 7 days. Well, every week we work 7 days, so every week's the same. So, and we do it in a soft rubber bit. And we drive, there's stallions and mares, I think it's called Stallions and a Mare on YouTube, a film where we drive 2 stallions either side, so 3 abreast, either side of a mare heavily in season. And they behave themselves impeccably. They do not talk to her, they do not address her, they do not snort, blow or do anything, call her in any way. She's leaping and jumping about a bit and fidgety because she's in season, but that was done not to show how wonderful we are, how clever we are. The fella had these two Frisian stallions and covered mares, and the person that broke them said, you must have them castrated, they'd be too dangerous to take on a pellet. If they meet a mare, they'll kill somebody. And the man was terrified of them. You know, not perhaps terrified, but certainly frightened of what he was told. Well, it wasn't that we even want to prove them people wrong. It was just to say, look, these horses are well behaved, they do as they're told. When you asked them, you know, hello. And I don't know whether it's, you know, we ask them, we don't push them, we don't tell them, we don't do any of that nonsense. All I do is use my voice. But when I do use my voice, what you get is it's like being at school. Years ago when you went to school, you went from this class to that class. Now one class you went in, you done exactly what you liked. You played about, you was cheeky, you was passing messages to each other, you was just messing about in general. How was it then? You walked into another class and everyone sat there, done what they were supposed to do and conducted themselves in a different way. Same people, different teacher. So what I do is, you know, I'm that teacher, no, you must do what I ask you to do. I will not accept anything other than what I ask you to do, unless you've got a problem, obviously you've got a bad tooth or you know, you don't feel well or something like that. Obviously, you know, there's exceptions, but basic rule. So I'm getting on in years now, and if I want to leave anything behind me at all, it's just a fact of see horses for what they are, not what you'd like them to be. And I genuinely love them. I don't love them shoving sweets in them and treats and all this carry on. I don't do that. But any morning I'm out there at the same time. Winter freezing cold, I'm out there, they're mucked out, they're fed, they're done, they're looked after. Yeah. I don't go out on a Saturday night and, you know, and don't tell me it don't happen, because I'm not a fool. I've been around a good few stables, and all these girls that love them to death, and it's my pride and joy. Trot! And now they're normally at, you know, we'll say 7 o'clock in the morning to do their horse before they go to work. I don't care if I leave that horse standing in muck till 12 o'clock, because they've been out clubbing it, or whatever they call it, you know. So that's what I call loving them, is caring for them, you know, teaching them to be safe, confident and happy in what they're doing. They're entitled to be happy doing what we ask them to do. Of course they've got to be happy. Or should they be unhappy? They should look forward to it, want to go out for a drive or a ride. Anyway, we love the comments. If you subscribe to the channel, you can you get a notification when the next film's coming up on YouTube. Thank you. You're gonna get a toe, he said. So here she is. Bike just come past, man, holding a conversation, no reaction whatsoever. Yeah, in her open bridle. I'm just going along so happy, you know, so, and that's how I want them to be. I want them to be happy. Ears prick forward, tail off her quarters, you know, and enjoy it. Why shouldn't she enjoy it? She's doing all the bloody work, you know what I mean? I mean, she don't get a ride on the cart, does she? And you pull it. So she should enjoy it, and they should love what they do. And I think my horses, when you see them on the films, they love what they do. And some take, you know, and they're all individuals. You can't say, you know, you could, otherwise, if you could do what people write down in a book on how to break a horse, well, we put them on a conveyor belt and produce them, wouldn't you? Anybody could do it. And when it goes wrong, the person that wrote the book says it never has a thing on if it goes wrong. They just say, well, you never done it properly. You didn't do that section for long enough. You didn't do that for that. What they will not accept, you cannot put them all as one horse. They're just like people. They're all individuals. Someone might go and have, I don't know, I mean, you know, let's say someone go and have a load of tattoos or piercings done it. Someone else wouldn't. You know, well, there's no wrong or right, is there? It's what that person is and how they are as a person, and that's what they feel they need to do or not do. So they're different. So someone, you know, just is someone who wants to learn and study, and they really want to learn, and there's no real purpose to their learning. It's just the want of knowledge, isn't it? You get someone else who can't put pen to a paper particularly well, but will lay bricks like you can't believe, or drive a truck, which that amazes me when they drive them big Arctics and put them anywhere. When I was out in America, I see a young lady, tiny little person, getting one of them great big semis, they call them, massive big lorry, and backed it in a warehouse. Well, the opening was only 8 foot wide, and this Arctic was massive, and she spun it round in this great car park and just backed it straight in on an angle and straightened it up so the whole thing went inside. I couldn't believe it. I certainly couldn't have done that. I wouldn't be the best of drivers in a motorised vehicle, let me tell you. Might be alright with horse, but no, not in a motor car. I see these bikes coming up here, these lads now. Alright lads. And there's a lot more people riding bikes now. Alright mate, that's a posh one, look at that, that's a proper bike. Some of these bikes now that people are taking up riding, they tell me cost thousands of pounds, you know, and then you've got to pedal it along. So maybe horses, the, you know, the pastime of driving horses, perhaps it's not that expensive after all. You're going to pay £3,000, £4,000 for a bicycle, and then you've got to pedal it. You think it'd go along on its own, wouldn't you, that money? So there you are. There's old Rosie, as happy as can be, doing her job, enjoying the sunshine. Had the trot, canter, we've done everything with her, and she's enjoying her job. And soft rubber bit. What she did do, the cheeky young rascal, I'll just show you. Oh, both. When I had to stop briefly, she helped herself, you can see, to a mouthful of grass. And that was my fault really, because obviously she had to get her head down to do that, but she took me by surprise and had that grabbed and her head back in place again in a split second. So here we're coming back home now, and what I want to say is this vehicle that we're using, people will say that's a big vehicle, but it is, you know, it's not heavy. There's some smaller four-wheelers that are much heavier than this. I mean, by 120 odd kilo, but this one's all alley checker plate. There's no heavy plywood flooring or rubber covering or anything like that, and we've taken as much weight off it as we possibly can. I can't tell you, and I don't want to say what's wrong with what it does actually weigh, but I know when we've done it and weighed it, it's no different from going out with 4 people, average build people, with you know, with a standard four-wheeler. I mean, some manufacturers are heavier than others, but that's, you know, that's obviously to be expected. You see, like that vehicle that's standing in the yard there, that big vehicle there, she's about 18 inches, 2 foot longer than this one. She's got storage boxes on the back. She's got a lot of stuff on her that this one doesn't have. So yeah, this one's quite a bit lighter. So now we're just going to open the gate, and she's got to stand. And she doesn't want to do that. We're back, let's go in. So you could say, well, that's spoilt. No, it's not. It's not spoilt anything. This is exactly what we want. I would far sooner that she was. I would far sooner that she was messing around here and learn not to do that, and it's not acceptable, than I would to have her go home and do this. Also, the other thing is, Ree does not pull on her mouth. All she does is, so the horse is back, you can see the tugs are slightly forward on the pad, the britching's just being used slightly, the traces are slack. So she's got her hands, Ree's got her hands fixed, but no, the reins are slack. So when she moves forward, she puts the pressure onto her mouth herself. Now you say, what difference it makes? It makes one hell of a difference, because she's deciding to walk forward and realising the consequences of walking forward. Yeah. So by that I mean, if you was to pull it back, she can't measure the two. She can understand that you've pulled her back and you don't like what she's done, but a better way of doing it is to tell her to stand. Now we're going to put her over, that's it. I'm going to say to her, just stand. And that's with a rubber bit. And we will stand here now. If we've got to stand here an hour, that's what we'll be doing. But we will stand here until she accepts the fact that we're, you know, she's got to stand. And and that's absolutely lovely. So when she accepts that, then we'll walk in the yard. And it really won't matter how long this takes. This is, you know, a big lesson. So she's come back, she's been absolute sweetheart, she's done everything we've asked her to do. And now she's coming right over on the fence, so we'll put her back over there again.
Walk up. Walk. Stand up.
And as soon as she stands, she releases the pressure on her own mouth. You know what I mean? It's not redoing it. Ree's hands are still. So again, she's just got to stand. She's got to come over now.
Oh, stand still now.
I'll just back her up now.
Come back.
Oh.
Back. Come back. Whoa.
And she's got to stand. And we will not accept anything else. And she's got to relax and stand there quiet. No, we're not smacking her, we're not hitting her, we're not even pulling the reins, as I've explained to you. Ree's holding the reins. I'll just show you, she got them on her knees, you know, the rein locked up on her knee so that she can't, so see there, just there, so exactly right. So when she snatches or goes to go forward, that's all that's happening. Ree just comes back. Ree does not pull. So the horse is teaching itself. Every time I do that, I'll walk onto this bit, what we call walking onto the bit. So, now obviously if you put a Liverpool bit in there with cheek pieces and you put it on rough cheek or one on the slot, that would be painful. Please believe me, it will be painful. It's not pressure and release, it's pain and release, in my opinion. I've got two little scales that you hold in your hands, you know, and when you lift something up it tells you, but what they were, I'm not sure what they were made for. We've got a lot of flies around this horse, you see them around her head there. Even so, we've still got to stand until she just stands quiet. And when she does, then we'll go. I'm sorry about the flies. She did have a fly spray put on, but obviously we've been out a little while and that's whatever. Or it might well be that it's one I've diluted and I haven't done it right. I know I've done that before, got it wrong. Ree normally does it, but if she was busy I might have made some up. Anyway, so we just got to get her to stand quiet now and accept the fact she's got to stand here. And in these horrible conditions, yes it is horrible, but you could be standing at the traffic lights. You could be standing anywhere with children around and they should get flies around her, but she cannot just jump forward and do what she thinks she can do because it's dangerous, isn't it, obviously, for anyone nearby. So just by doing this, then I'm over the moon. Now, something's just happening that I'm going to show you if we can. There you go. Look.
Stand still.
So now she's standing and hopefully, there you go. I think she's going to do it. There, her leg at rest. Can you see? See her foot at rest there? That's exactly what we want. No horse is going to move forward on 3 legs. She's got, okay, I'll stand here. Now we count to 10 and then we'll move off. So even the flies and even everything else, I don't want to win any battle with horse, I don't want to have a battle with horse. But that is exactly our training. That you've just seen it, that's it in a nutshell. Regardless of what it is, that's it. Calm, quiet, not smacking, not hitting, not getting down and threatening it, not snatching the reins with a big lump of iron in its mouth and a curve chain and inflicting pain to make it stand still. No, just like that. When you're ready, Ree, you're driving, whenever you're happy, just take her away.
Okay, Rosie, walk.
Run away at a sensible walk. Absolutely tip-top perfect. That's the way to end the job. And Ree on the reins, not me, you know. Ree's perfectly capable of doing anything I can do.
Stand.
Been with me a while, she's not anybody's fault. And she'll just jump off the side here now, and I would jump off the side, you understand, if I could jump off the side. If you go down and just hook her on, and there you go. That's a lovely, lovely lesson. Beautiful lesson. And the bit at the gate, people would panic and go, oh my God, she's fed up, she's this, she's that. No, just do what we asked you to do, not what we beat you into do, not what we pull a bit with a big lump of metal and a curb chain, not because we do that, because we sit here quietly and just ask you to do it. And that's training, as far as I'm concerned anyway, you know. Hope you enjoyed that. Please comment if you want to, and click on the subscribe button, and then you'll be notified of the next video. Sounds like I understand what I'm talking about. I really don't, but basically Reese told me that's true. Just click on subscribe and the next video will come up. It will notify you when it's going to be up on YouTube. Normally one a week, sometimes two. Okay, God bless.